Hi everyone. 2020, last year, during world pandemic, lockdown and everything that went with that, I managed to sell my boat, Born Free, my little Far 727. I bought a Cav 30, Crackling Rosie, which she was fantastic. But then my dream boat came up, a Contessa 32, Nerissa K. So I snapped her up pretty quick and I sold Crackling Rosie, which was slightly heartbreaking at the time, but I haven't looked back. So I'm sitting on board my Contessa 32, Nerissa K, and she is fantastic. I purchased her on the 1st of December 2020 and we've had a ball ever since. I took her straight after Christmas up to the Marlborough Sound, so I sailed from Littleton to Waikawa and then cruised around Queen Charlotte for a little while, did some exploration and then took on some wild weather to bring her home. I then hauled her out of the water and I've done some maintenance and some jobs on her over the last few weeks. I thought I'd probably have her out for maybe 2 weeks. Instead she was out for about 6 weeks, but mainly because the jobs escalated and became bigger jobs and I found new problems and I started, so I wanted to carry on and do as much as I could while she was out of the water, but I actually also had to put some of the work on hold for a few weeks whilst I made the most of my new good friend Sebastian on Merci and took me sailing for a few days on his Amoka 60, which poor Nerissa K had to sit in the yard for a few extra weeks whilst I went on a wee adventure. But I'm going to show you around Nerissa and I'm going to show you some of the jobs that I did. So this is inside the boat. First of all, here in the galley, got a little burner there, 2 gas burner and grill and oven, and a nice big table. The table is huge. I've always wanted a table in my boat so I can have big dinner parties, but it does take up a lot of room, but it is really awesome. I'm a little bit of a mess. Got my wee nav station under there. There is a berth, but at the moment it's full of stuff. And down, it's a bit dark down here. Got the head down there, wharepaku. Keep the window open. And my forward berth, it's a bit dark because I've got the dinghy on the top up there, so that's why you can't see through there. The dinghy's right on the top, but a nice berth there. Wet weather gear now, and looking back out, she's a Canadian Contessa, which means that she has a wheel. Sorry about the mess, I've been hosing her down because she's just come back into the water. So I've got everything out. My diesel canisters are still out, but she does have a wheel steering. This is Tiana Marina. There's my trusty motor. She's a Burke 20 and so far she's been just beautiful. Done a little bit of maintenance but hardly any. She's been really, really good. Okay, so the 2 main jobs I knew I wanted to do when I hauled Nerissa out was she needed a new anti-foul, of course, and probably a new anode and little bits like that, but I had a very, very tiny little drip coming from the sort of stern shaft, I thought, and I just really wanted to check that out. So I wanted to look at that, and she needed painting. She needed her bottom cleaning and painting. So they're the 2 things that I knew. I thought there's probably other things that I'll check and do along the way, you know, a couple of weeks out of the water, easy. Anyway, after I hauled her out and close inspection, I realised that the exhaust had all corroded up near the skin fitting, so I ended up pulling that apart. I split the exhaust hose in the process, so I've replaced the whole new exhaust hose. I've put in new system, which I will show you, and I had to put in new breast skin fitting as well, so that was a good job. So that took me a few days to sort that out, and then I decided to pull the whole prop shaft out, take the propeller off, pull the prop shaft out, give it a polish, check it was all okay, get a new shaft seal, a Volvo Penta shaft seal, and put that back on, and just clean it all up, take out any old bogging that was sort of surrounding the area, and put in some new stuff, and put it all back together again. I was really nervous about putting it back together because this is all brand new work for me. And I had a lot of advice from people, but often advice is conflicting from experts. So yeah, it was very hard for me to know exactly how to put it back together, because of course when you put your boat back in the water you don't want it to fill up and sink, so it's pretty crucial. Luckily a friend of mine from Wild Water Jet, he came and said, yeah, no worries, I'll come take a look. This is when I was putting my prop shaft back in. I was like, how much grease shall I put on? Shall I grease it? Shall I not? What shall I do? And he came along and he's like, yeah, sweet, let's just do this. And just having someone to go, yeah, that's the decision to make, just do it, rather than spending days thinking about a decision, was really handy. So yeah, we got everything back together in a few days, and I had a team come, we anti-fouled it, put new paint on, and yeah, put it back in the water. So I'm going to show you my new stern shaft, my prop seal shaft, and how awesome it looks. And then I'm going to show you my new exhaust fittings that I sort of made up as I went along. And since we put it back in the water, I've motored around from the haul out yard back to the marina, and the hose stayed on, my exhaust hose stayed on, and it seemed to work. It's only a short distance, but we made it and everything seems to be in working order. So fingers crossed, I'm gonna have to give her a really good test and a really good practice run, and test out all the new things that I've done. But so far so good. So I'm going to show you these bits of work. Radio, so that's my new Volvo Penta stern shaft seal just there, and that goes into the back of my motor just there. And put my prop shaft back in, and it's done up tight. A little bit of bogging around there, doesn't look too pretty on the camera, looks better in real life. And here, it's a bit difficult to see, but that's my new brass skin fitting there, and I put a seacock, a valve on there, and a few bits and parts, and that's my exhaust hose coming up and clamping on there. It's a little bit difficult to see, super tight space. We had to cut a bit of a gap in the fiberglass, which is, I need to sweep that up down at the bottom there, but yeah. So that is some of the work that I've done on Nerissa so far. I've got heaps more I want to do and lots of extras that I want to put on. I've been watching other people who have Contessas and who single-handed sail and have put lots of extra attachments on and done all sorts of stuff. So watch this space. I'm gonna keep going, and I got some good plans to do some trips around Aotearoa, and so yeah, keep watching. I'll keep you updated.